I think that there are so many different things that as a family you can do together. The parents could help take that lead. Like tonight, let's have a pizza and movie night. Let's have board game night. Let's do some things that are that healthy balance, but let's put our phones away. 2 years ago, our middle schools had a cell phone policy, no phones during the school. We've now adopted that as well in all our schools. But what they found was the kids started to have conversations at lunch. And I would say that would be the same thing at home. You will be able to have conversations with your kids if you put your phones away and talk and listen to each other.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media. And we also ask them questions that we get from parents all over the country in our program. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hi, I'm Kim Bekkedahl. I am the superintendent of the CUNA School District in Idaho. We have about 5,400 students with 11 schools in our district.
Hi, I am Brian Graves. I am the Assistant Superintendent of CUNA School District in CUNA, Idaho.
Superintendent and Assistant Superintendent, it's so great to have both of you here today as we talk about keeping kids safe on social media so they can someday shine online. In between, for all of our parent listeners, our other superintendent listeners, today we're going to talk about 4 questions that you can use in your community to help guide kids, not just to be safe, not just to shine online for their future career, but everything in between. We here at Smart Social want them to be successful on campus, in the district, in the 4 walls of the school building, and also at home. Since they're at home even more than they're on campus, right? And we want to support that educator and that parent relationship as we nurture these resilient kids going forward using these digital tools that are everywhere. So I'm so grateful to have these 2 experts here today giving us practical and tactical advice and also insights from their district that can translate nationwide because we're all going through similar things. Now let's hear from our guests first. Superintendent, I'd like to ask you the following question about parent participation. What are your suggestions for other school districts to increase parent engagement, and are there any specific channels or events that get the biggest turnout?
Well, it's a great question because we just had 2 nights of some pretty amazing parent participation. And I'll speak to that in the fact that I have a superintendent's advisory committee. There's about 25 parents and they're represented from all of our 11 schools. They come together once a month and they bring issues, concerns, things that they'd like to see us do in the schools or help with. And one of the biggest things for parent engagement, they wanted to have questions answered not only about social media, but like, how do we get information from the schools on all these different topics? And so we put together parent university nights, and we had our first parent university nights Monday night and Tuesday night. We did 8th to 9th grade at the high school. We did an incoming kindergarten out at one of our new CTE our CTE Swan Falls High School. And that's where a number of our CTE programs are there. And we knew that the kindergarten parents really don't have any reason to be out there, but we said, welcome to your future. Come and see what your kids can be involved in. Tuesday night, we had parent universities at both middle schools, at each of our middle schools. And we had some of the biggest turnout we've ever had for parent participation and engagement because parents really want to lean in and be partners with us. And so we actually today just received some amazing feedback of thank you for helping us with answer questions for our kids.
That's great. That's exciting. And it's so exciting to hear about districts that are engaging parents. We've heard from districts all over the country. Josh, if we could just partner with parents, we can overcome some of these problems, which is great. Now, I want to ask both of you the next question, and it's about excessive screen time impact on student behavior. Assistant Superintendent, I'd like to ask you first, how are you seeing excessive screen time impact students' motivation and mental or physical health?
Josh, it's a great question. I think for me, anytime you do in excess, you're going to run into positives and more negatives than positives. We were lucky we grew up in a time where there wasn't screen time. If there was, you got up and had to change the channel on that screen. You got excited maybe for one program a week that you watched, one time a year that you'd get to go to the movies. Our kids have a computer in their pocket at all times. It's not so much the teaching and learning aspects of using that phone that are in the excess. It's probably the social media and the instant communication that they have. So we're seeing things that maybe affect a student's motivation or mental or physical health. It's more the social media. It's more the instant gratification if they feel like they're being ignored or left on red. So any of those times where you can get them to be in a club, join a sport, or join an activity and get them to be off a screen and in person, then we're seeing an increase in student involvement, increase in attendance, increase in grades. So just anything in excess is not usually good.
I like that. Anything in excess. So true. And it's a totally different world, as you mentioned. We used to have movie theaters that we went to all the time. Superintendent, I'd like to ask you the same question. How are you seeing excessive screen time in your career impact students' motivation and mental or physical health?
Well, I think it's a really great question, Josh. And I'm over the counselors and social workers in our district. At our secondary level, we have counselors. In our elementary schools, we have social workers. And what we see a lot in that area is the kids who might be being bullied on social media or friends. You know, you're a friend one day and now you're not with that group. And so we see the counselors and our social workers dealing a lot with those kinds of behaviors, or somebody wants to fight somebody because their boyfriend broke up with them. Those are some of the things we see with our social media. Also, a lot of the anxiety because they see things on social media, you have to be perfect. And those are kind of the things that we talk about with our counselors and social workers that we are seeing with all the screen time that kids have available to them. And like Brian said, I would agree with everything Brian had to say with that.
Yeah, so well said. Parents, for all of you listening here right now, not only are these great tips, but at our parent night events, we're always asking parents the following questions. Here's just a little teaser of what we ask parents. Parents are asking us, what advice would you give students to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger online? You know, Smart Social is all about safety so that they can shine online from about the age of 5 all the way up to 18 to launch into their future dream college, career, internship. Let's hear from a real student about how she might help a friend recognize red flags.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all little details about what they do and who they are, and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start. If they feel, for instance, being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
Parents, this is a big part of our program, having real teens speak to you. We have weekly live parent events and replays for all of our parents that are watching and districts that are watching that are partners. Gone are the days of me flying to your district to give a talk. Now we do it 50 times a year in your community. And if you're a rural district, it's even better because we're in every single community in all the areas. And if you're in an urban area as well, we've got that covered as an addition. We're in 12 different languages, teen-led video lessons in the program, and a premium parent newsletter. Let's look at what happens with some of our partner districts if this goes right. And again, school districts that are watching this right now, we want to make sure that you put parent ed and parent engagement at the forefront of what we can do in the next school year because it's so important. Let's take a peek at this. You are the one that needs to decide whether it's too much screen time or just right.
But parents and teachers know when it comes to teenagers and social media, that's easier said than done. So in an effort to protect students from the dangers of being chronically online, schools are doing something you might not expect, asking parents to get online too.
It makes an awareness to parents and students. It also gives them an understanding of some of the warning signs.
That's just one reason why Deron Wilson, an executive director of school engagement, says his district uses the app Smart Social. It's an online app designed to educate parents and students on how to avoid strangers and dangerous situations online.
Kind of like, I want to say, a trap. When you get involved in the cyberbullying, you might start friending somebody on an app, or somebody might say, hey, it might send me your picture.
Smart Social founder Josh Oakes says while there are a lot of things that can and should scare us online, the increased number of parents he is able to reach underscores the importance of growing social gathering spaces online.
Back in the day, I used to be one of the top social media safety speakers nationwide, but I was flying around to certain school districts and they're the best of intentions, but only 20 or 30 parents would show up. We get 10 times the amount of parents to show up, and they want to learn from the convenience of their home or office how to keep their kids safe on social media. They want to ask live questions. They want to learn how to have dialogue starters with your kids that actually get their kids excited about talking with their parents and strengthening that relationship.
Darcy Wertique, Spectrum News.
So parents, remember, we've got this every single week, 50 times a year, and there's all kinds of different flavors. The biggest questions we get from parents, we create an event around that. No one is ever left behind in 12 different languages. Okay, we're back to our experts. I want to talk about the behaviors contributing to chronic absenteeism. Assistant Superintendent, I want to start with you. Some districts say excessive screen time leads to increased anxiety, depression, and cyberbullying, which could contribute to a decline in school performance. I also want you to think about it as screen time fatigue. We've heard from some educators like, yeah, Josh, they were online last night so late with Fortnite or something. They're fatigued today to come to school. My question for you is, are you seeing this or other related online behaviors impacting student academic success and or attendance?
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to throw two different angles at you. I think anytime that a kid feels off because of their friends, they're anxious because of their friends, they're depressed, there's something going on where someone's being mean to them, they're not going to be able to perform anywhere close to how they would if they felt good. So absolutely, anytime that anything online or in the real world could affect a kid, it's going to affect your school. But I also wonder, are we also causing this fatigue? So many of our teachers, especially after COVID, had more of an online presence in their own teaching. So all of a sudden, are we also doubling up on that screen fatigue, is how you said it, and I can do most of my lesson from home. Why am I going to school? So we need to, as educators, and I think we've challenged our teachers in the last couple of years, since COVID's been over for quite a while, to make your classroom the place that the kids want to be. And you don't do that by having all 30 of them open their Chromebooks and just get right online. We need to be dynamic. We need to be hands-on. We need to be project-based. I think we as teachers need to do a better job making it so they can't miss our class. They don't want to miss our class. And the learning is so dynamic that we're better than Fortnite, or we're better than the chat group or whatever they're doing.
I love that. I think that's a really good student view approach, right? What is the student experience? And is it more exciting for the student? Because we're here to build kids who want to come to school, want to come to class. I love that. Superintendent, I want to follow up with you. Are you seeing this or other related behaviors impacting student academic success or attendance? And I know as superintendents will often talk about attendance. How's attendance post-COVID? What are your thoughts on this topic?
What I have to really agree with what Brian had to say. And post-COVID, we've just seen attendance in a very different way. Like Brian said, we're seeing now parents going, well, I can do this online or whatever. And then the kids are struggling because they're not in person. And we really are trying to work towards those hands-on projects. You cannot miss today because you have to be in school. I think there was a time when we did have, we were pretty excited that a child could bring their phone to school because we could use it in chemistry or we could use it in a class for math or whatever. Now we're seeing those aren't really the best answers anymore. They need to be in-person, project-based, and I cannot miss school today because I have to be in class doing this project. And we really are trying to get to that point.
And what I'm really hearing for our audience who's listening right now, the thing I'm hearing if we read between the lines is, how do we make the experience so wholesome that it offers values that the screen time doesn't? Hey, I'm going to interact with these other kids that are some of my closest friends, or I'm developing friendship and community in class that Fortnite or scrolling on Instagram or trying to Zoom or missing class would not. And I feel energized afterward. How do we do that as an educator society? I think these are great comments that our expert guests are bringing up. And that's our challenge for you today on this episode, which is so important. Okay, Superintendent, I'm back to you with the final question, and then we're going to hear from the Assistant Superintendent. So we're talking about screen time impact on home environment. This is so important, we're hearing. What happens at home is actually more hours at home than at school. And parents, if you're listening right now, remember, your kids are with you more than they are with the district. We love the district. The district loves you and wants to support your child, but also there's an equal opportunity on both sides of this to support your kids, and we want to be a part of that in your life. Now, what does balanced and healthy screen time look like at home? Well, Superintendent, I'd like to start with you. What do you suggest? And again, there is no shame to all of our parent listeners. And we're not telling you how to parent. We're giving you expert insight and advice that you might throw to a friend. Maybe you're the perfect parent because you're listening to this, right? And you're like, oh, I already got that. Or maybe you already know this. You just need to be reminded. So no one's telling you what to do. But Superintendent, what do you suggest? What are your ideas and considerations that parents and their children can do to come up with an agreement around screen time to decrease arguments as we enter into summer?
Brian and I were talking about this, and I think we both agree that, first of all, parents have to be the model, for that. Is like parents have to put their phones down first and make sure that they are modeling that for their kids at home. That if we're going to have dinner together, nobody gets to have their phone at the table. I think that there are so many different things that as a family you can do together. The parents could help take that lead. Like tonight, let's have a pizza and movie night. Let's have board game night. Let's do some things that are that healthy balance, but let's put our phones away. And I know that this is at home, but I want to add one thing is that 2 years ago, our middle schools had a cell phone policy, no phones during the school. We've now adopted that as well in all our schools. But what they found was the kids started to have conversations at lunch. They weren't on their phones. And I would say that would be the same thing at home. You will be able to have conversations with your kids if you put your phones away and talk and listen to each other.
Now, parents listening right now, your kids will hate you the first week and then they'll love you.
Yes.
Right? Am I wrong, educators? I've heard this from principals as we partner in 29 states. The kids hated us the first week and then the kids were happier because in the cafeteria, they're playing board games. They're laughing and they're having fun with each other, looking at each other again. It will get harder until it gets easier, okay? Everything good for your child will get harder as well. Assistant Superintendent, I want to ask you the same question. What are your suggestions for parents and their kiddos as we go into this summer season that is so scary? So many parents are afraid, like, what am I going to do? Fortnite is sitting over there, or Roblox or Minecraft, and they're just going to sit in the corner of the room. I don't know what to do. Do you have any ideas on decreasing arguments or activities to replace some of that screen time, Assistant Superintendent?
Yeah, I have 3 sons of my own, so I promise I'm not preaching to anyone or telling people what to do. But at the same time, every great teacher that has rules in their classroom, the best rules are created by the class, by the kids. I mean, you get to the rules you need to have. But at the same time, if you can own the rules and they're yours, then it's so much different. So don't be afraid to ask your kids to be involved in this. I think they're going to actually tell you they want less screen time as well. And then Kim hit it on, like, if you always do game night on Tuesday, movie on Wednesday, have events instead of like, what are we going to do today? And then get upset if there's nothing planned and kids grab their phone. I just reiterate, if you're on your phone and then get mad at someone else for being on their phone, it's not going to work. So you got to model. At the same time, if you're not going to win completely by having them shut down, make them earn it. So much time with you, then they get an half an hour on their phone. Do a couple chores, and chores are still good things to do, kids, but do a couple chores and you've earned it. But make them earn a little bit. And at the same time, if there is a time where you got to do a consequence, the month without a phone, the week without a phone never works. Just stick to, today you lost these, but tomorrow we're going to earn it back. Short, simple, attainable. That would be my advice.
Those are great tips. For all the parents listening right now, don't forget that this month, in all of May, we've got the impact of screen time on motivation, health, and academics. Live, very fast-paced events taught by teens and experts like psychologists, therapists, counselors in the program. We've got May 7th, May 13th, May 15th, May 20th. One of them is dedicated in Espanol on May 28th. And then optimizing parental controls. Now, the May 20th event is all about a family media agreement. This is what the assistant superintendent just mentioned, reducing arguments with a family media plan. In a way, it's all about what are those questions that kids can come to the table with. I want to argue for these responsibilities and these freedoms. And the parent goes, well, we can do that if you do it this way, and so on. Really powerful event. We're so grateful for everyone. To both of my guests here today, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today.
Oh, we were delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting us, Josh.
It's been such a pleasure. So thanks for our expert guests. For all of you parents at home, we're here for you. Smart Social appreciates you. We love you. We've been doing this 13 years. And we're reaching millions of people a year to help keep your kids safe on social media so they can shine online. As one of the top social media traveling former speakers in the country, spoken to 250,000 kids, your kids are the experts. They do want to talk with you about their future. As we would ask 6th graders all the way to 12th graders live on stage, they'd go, I want to tell you about my future career. Do not forget to talk to them about their interests. Maybe to have them teach you their video games that they like, or anything that they're interested in that you think, oh, I'm too busy, Josh. You don't understand. Once parents open up, try to ask their kids to open up and ask questions, the child just opens up and has more than a chance to go to that parent or that guardian if they see something wrong online, because they know that person's interested in what they're interested in. So parents, remember that. And as always, parents as well, remember to, whenever you're posting online, to keep it light, bright, and polite, because your kids are watching what you're doing online. We'll see all of you on the next episode. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. Smart Social helps parents understand technology and social media to keep their kids safe and successful. Be sure to join one of our weekly online live events to become the smartest parent on the block so you can keep your kids safe and protect their future. Also, don't miss our 450 plus online resources and replays you can watch on demand in multiple languages. Are you a school district wanting to unlock these resources for your parents? Reach out to us so we can protect your whole community each week. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next episode.